Back to you, Arlo. Apologize.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lutz, for that amazing evaluation. At this point, we would hand the stage to Lisa to give Ruby's evaluation.
Ruby, I have to use the acronym POD in order to organize my thoughts on feedback for your speech. The P is going to be for the positive things, the O for opportunities for growth, and the D is development. As you can tell, Ruby is a very accomplished speaker. She has a great pace, her volume is good, her pace, I already said pace, her the words that you're using, your vocabulary, you have pauses. I felt that it was a really well put together speech. I encourage you to continue with some of the things that you asked me to look for. So one of the questions that Ruby asked was it engaging and how is my storytelling? So here's some observations that I have and some suggestions, take them or leave them. In the beginning, you're very much like me. You want to let the audience know kind of exactly what's happening. I felt like this was a great opportunity. You could have started off with a story, just right away. Don't even tell us anything about what is coming up until after your story. It creates a little bit more intrigue. You could have started with the part in your speech, let me take you back to when this happened. You could have started that way, for example. I really liked how Ruby wanted to appreciate all the people who've helped her along the journey. And that she was okay with kind of opening that door and saying, you know what, we struggled with some things. We struggled with membership number, with engagement, but here's how we overcame it. We're not a perfect club, we don't pretend to be. And so it's okay in your speeches, whether it's something like this or a personal speech, where you can kind of say, hey, I've made mistakes or I'm not perfect, but a way to grow into that. So I thought that that was really great. One of the things that I felt, Ruby, was that your speech was informational, perhaps rather than emotional. And so you gave a lot of details, and your vocal variety was somewhat a little bit in the middle, whereas my suggestion for the storytelling part is work on those emotions. I felt overwhelmed. I felt anxious, right? You could go a little bit more into the emotions of some things. And when you were talking about the mentoring opportunity that you had with Shelley and with Richard, because you weren't feeling very confident, maybe share a story. Well, one day I said, and you share something, or I was thinking, or show that there was a dialogue, right? Richard said this, and then I said this, and then I had to go back to Shelley and ask this, right? A little bit more there. In terms of engagement, one of the ways that you can create a little bit more engagement is by asking questions. Have you ever thought about being president of this club? Have you ever felt overwhelmed or anxious or maybe not very confident in something that you had to do? The final thing that I have, two things. And I'm looking at the red light, but I know that we had a cancel speech. So I'm taking this one for you, Ruby. Okay. In terms of engagement, knowing your audience. So I liked how you used some of the stories, like the frog in the well, and you're like a robo, I see you smiling, right? Because she connected with that. I just want to share that for some people who, especially our new members and our guests, they're not on the inside of this, right? And when you appreciate people and you give names, they don't have the same connections. So we have to balance between bringing things up from the past, because we're reflecting on our pathway, and it might be like a 2 or 3 year journey, but also realizing that there's new people that they're not there with you all the time on that. And then my D for my pod that I did want to finish off with this is, you had a takeaway for our audience. Even though this was your reflection, this was your moment of glory, this was your way to appreciate people who've helped you, your pods that have taken you along, you gave the audience a takeaway. The power of pod persists. I loved your alliteration. Harness the power of the pod, take hold of the opportunities, again, recognizing that you guys have opportunities to do these leadership things wherever your pathway may take you, and that you can have pods of people helping you along the way, mentoring you, helping you grow and be part of that. So that is my pod session for you and for you, Ruby. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.